Well, I would say that my crystal ball was pretty damn accurate when it came to my forecast of how the first 3 weeks of the regular season would play out. If you're a regular follower of these video reports, you know that even before the very first game between the Eagles and Falcons was played on that Thursday night 3.5 weeks ago, I told you that week number 1 of the NFL regular season, historically speaking, I've always found that you play the favorites. That's the way to go, because it's the only week that you have the advantage truly over the odds makers, because they don't know what to expect from the teams coming out of 4 meaningless preseason games, and the lines are always going to be the softest. And you saw favorites were generally the way to go. But then I also warned you before the season even kicked off that weeks number 2 and 3 are the most difficult to navigate, because that's when the underdogs generally rule the roost, because the odds makers are not dumb. They immediately compensate, and those lines get much sharper. And as bettors, the gambling public naturally gravitate towards favorites. It's just the way we are internally wired as gamblers. That's the way it is. You gravitate towards favorites. And that's a problem, because odds makers know it as well. Well, you saw last Sunday, week number 2, the underdogs, tremendous day, as the underdogs went 10-4 against the spread, and 6 of those puppies won outright. In yesterday's video report, I told you week number 3 is one of those weeks that the dogs don't generally do quite as well, but they generally have a pretty damn good day. Well, it wasn't just the Buffalo Bills that had a good day yesterday as a big dog. Overall, the dogs yesterday, again, 8-6 against the spread, and just like week number 2, you had 6 of those dogs winning outright. The Titans, the Saints, the Giants, the Redskins, the Bills, and of course the Lions, all winning outright. So, what does that mean going into week number 4? I'm going to tell you right now. Now you're going to start seeing the favorites coming back. Because the most important thing that you have to remember, as I always try to tell you and try to keep pointing out to you, is that the past doesn't indicate the future. Just because you've had these run of dogs the past couple of weeks, it's not going to continue. These things are all cyclical. You're going to see a reversal here in fates and fortunes. You're going to see more favorites start coming in. It doesn't mean you necessarily start jumping on these dogs week in, week out. It's always been this way. Something else I told you at the outset of the season, it's just this little quirky trend that I've always found that works. It's not easy to predict. If it was, we'd all be making fortunes, right? But if you can pick the straight-up winner of games, you'll find the point spread winner. And so far, going into tonight's games, the straight-up winner of every game so far this NFL season is 37-7-3 against the spread. 37-7-3 against the spread, the straight-up winner is. Now, of course, if I had told you the Buffalo Bills were going to win straight up yesterday, if I had told you the Detroit Lions were going to win straight up yesterday, if I told you the Tennessee Titans were going to win straight up yesterday, you would have laughed me off this video report. Hell, I would have laughed myself off this video report. Again, it's just this quirky little trend that I discovered about 8 or 9 years ago. It cashes in, especially the first 10 weeks or so of the season, at an almost 87-88% clip historically. The straight-up winner covers the spread at a tremendous rate. Again, if we could all pick the straight-up winners, you know, we'd be millionaires. So, tonight's game, I don't like the game. And I'm going to break down the game. And I'm going to give you the selection in the game, because I think the best bet is in baseball. And I'm going to go make money in baseball tonight. So I'm going to give you the Pittsburgh-Tampa Bay game. The guy that has the feature play tonight in the game is Chris Jordan. His second 1,000-star top-rated release of the season. His first one was Baltimore by 344 points over Buffalo in week number 1. He's coming off a 400-star winner yesterday on Washington outright over Green Bay. This play is 2.5 times stronger. You get it for over half price off from a guy who has made $1 bettors in the NFL $21,850 over the past 2.5 years. That coupon code is Chris, and all your other discounts and coupon codes are over on the homepage. As for me, yesterday, I could not follow up the success of the top-rated 15-dime winner on Central Florida on Friday night. Of course, I pushed with the play on Utah State on Saturday. I was going for top-rated 15-dime winner number 16 out of 20. Unfortunately, I used the Houston Texans. After going with the Rams the first 2 weeks, hey, shoulda, coulda, woulda. No, I don't play that game. I gave you the Rams as one of the free plays. They won. I lost with the Texans. So be it. So I had been on a 6-1 football run. I had been off to a 6-1 start in the NFL preseason, my lone play winning, and 5-1 start in the regular season. I lost with the Texans yesterday. So be it. I could certainly live with the start that I'm off. I hated losing, but it's still been a great season so far. But I don't like this game here tonight. By the way, 3 teams in the NFL are off to 0-3 starts, those teams being the Raiders, the Texans, and the Arizona Cardinals. Since 1980, 173 teams have started 0-3. Only 5 of them have made the playoffs. So John Gruden, Steve Wilkes, and Bill O'Brien, you got no chance of going to the postseason. So let's break down this game tonight. You've got Tampa as a 1-point favorite here tonight. Ryan Fitzpatrick has just been phenomenal through the first 2 games. Going into week number 3, going into this weekend's action, he led the NFL, or led the conference in passing yards with 819, led the conference with a passer rating of 151.5, had an NFC high 8 touchdowns, had an NFC best 78.1 completion percentage, a league best numbers, just one phenomenal stat after another. And then just remember this. We're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick. We're talking about a guy who, as a starter in the NFL, a journeyman starter, is 20 games under 500 for his career. A guy who is 0-5 lifetime as a starter in his journeyman career against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe in the law of averages, okay? This is Ryan Fitzpatrick here. I'll just say that. Now, the one thing that Ryan Fitzpatrick has going for him, however, is that he's got some great receivers. Deshaun Jackson, Mike Jackson, the tight end O.J. Howard. Deshaun Jackson's been targeted. Mike Evans, I'm sorry, not Mike Jackson, Mike Evans. Deshaun Jackson's been targeted 9 times. He's come up with all 9 targets that's been thrown his direction. He's averaging a league-high 30.6 yards per reception. Mike Evans has 17 catches through 2 games. And Fitzpatrick's been getting outstanding protection. He's only been sacked twice in the first 2 games. And he faced 2 teams, the Saints and the Eagles, who last year had 42 and 38 sacks, respectively. And the Buccaneers have been winning despite the fact that they have no ground game, only averaging like 2.7 yards per carry. And then on the other side, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger, coming into week number 3 action, he was only second to Ryan Fitzpatrick in terms of yards passing in the league, with 787 yards. And he's going to be facing a Tampa defense that was shredded by Nick Foles and by Drew Brees, giving up 753 yards in the first 2 games. Problem with the Steelers. In game number 1 against Cleveland, they collapsed in the fourth quarter, gave up 14 fourth quarter points, resulting in that 21-21 tie. Then they fell down 21-0 to Kansas City, had that great second half comeback, but of course it fell short. And this Pittsburgh secondary, still the same problems that they had last year. They've allowed 6 plays of 30 yards or more and 7 touchdowns in 2 games. Their pass defense has allowed quarterbacks, and we're talking about, Patrick Mahomes and Tyrod Taylor for Cleveland, to complete 77.4% of their attempts and a passer rating of 115.6. I mean, look at what the Kansas City Chiefs did to him. 42 points, 449 yards, 6 touchdowns by Patrick Mahomes. And here's the thing that you have to remember here. What Kansas City did, went to a wide open spread attack, flooded everybody down vertically. Andy Reid kept nobody in the backfield, sent everybody down vertical routes. Pittsburgh's coverage problems well documented over the past 2 years. They've got 3 guys back there. Kansas City's sending 4 guys out. Their linebacker crew stinks. Their cornerbacks can't cover. Kansas City constantly had somebody open. Travis Kelce, the tight end for the Chiefs, just demolished them in the middle seams. I think O.J. Howard can do much the same tonight if Fitzpatrick chooses to go to him. But here's the other thing that you have to be concerned about. Tampa Bay's secondary is young and just as vulnerable to those wide open attacks as Pittsburgh is. Look at how Drew Brees shredded the Tampa secondary. Look at how Nick Foles, after a slow start, tuned that secondary up as well. And I think that Ben Roethlisberger is going to do much the same and pick apart this Tampa secondary tonight. Now, would it help if they had Bell in the lineup? Absolutely, because James Conner, although he's provided some run support, is not nearly as good of a receiver out of the backfield. So when I look at this game tonight, it's very easy to say, oh, it's a must-win situation for Pittsburgh. Yeah, but Pittsburgh on the road, not a great play. And the Steelers have shown you they're not a very good defense. And the Steelers have shown you they're an absolutely horrendous tackling team. You know, broken tackles, they allowed last year an NFL high broken tackles on 14.1% of their defensive snaps last season. And this year through 2 games, 10.2% of their snaps. That was the 4th worst percentage through 2 games this year. This is a team that when they get close, they can't even bring you down. So as I thought about this game, and you're trying to thread that needle and splitting hairs, trying to figure out, is it Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay tonight, it came to me, why bother? I think these teams aren't going to be able to stop each other. Yeah, maybe Tampa Bay is the play playing at home. Maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick has another big game in him here tonight. This Tampa offense is playing so well. But look at the total in this game. It's 54.5. Do you see Tampa Bay scoring less than 28 points? I don't. Do you see Pittsburgh scoring less than 28 points? I don't. Well, do the math, guys. I mean, we don't have to get very quickly or get very far to get to 56 right there, and that puts the game over. So I call it for 31-28. I call it for the over. Who the hell cares who wins this game? Just play the over and be happy, instead of trying to split the hair and trying to figure out who's going to win the damn game. I just don't see this being a defensive battle, and that's the bottom line. And that's why I think the over is the safest way and the smartest way to play this game here tonight. Going with the over, that would be your complimentary play. Wish you well, guys, and talk to you.